Oh boy, if this creeper comes to my door, I'm definitely not answering the door.
Good afternoon. Terribly sorry to trouble you. Do you mind if I use your toilet? I do rather need a poo.
No, you crazy old lady, as your sons and your byproducts are some very creepy, weird individuals. As right now, there's a major push to kick Prince Andrew out of the United Kingdom. As right now, we have new emails detailing how Prince Andrew once again lied during his British broadcasting interview, where it was a car crash like scenario that unfolded and told the world essentially just how rotten, disgusting major seats of powers actually are behind the scenes, as the royal family played a major role in the Epstein cover-up, as a lot of left-wing media organizations are now ratcheting up their attacks on Donald Trump and saying somehow him trying to get into heaven is related to Epstein. Well, is it? We are going to be examining that and a lot more in this particular video, as a lot of people have some interesting takes about Donald Trump's latest comments, as other online commentators like Nick Fuentes are not holding anything back when it comes to Trump and the Epstein list. Lots of history with Nick Fuentes saying that he wouldn't vote for Donald Trump. Lots of things happening also behind the scenes here that I think are important to kind of talk about here. We're going to talk about that and a lot more, all here exclusively on this independent media organization. And if you appreciate these types of videos, subscribe, click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that, of course, you spend with us. Now, the royal family has a lot of weird ties. You know, there's Joris Demming, there's Jimmy Savile, there's even former prime ministers being accused of the United Kingdom of hurting children in absolutely disgusting, horrible ways. Again, family-friendly show. It's a serious topic, so I'm going to be doing my best to kind of navigate this conversation as best as I can. But pretty clear here, this portly chap here, seen in this photo, definitely got caught with his hand in the cookie jar by hanging out with Epstein, that was known for procuring small children to very powerful people. Now, Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, all kind of accused individuals, were all seen at Royal Castle. We're all seen with royalty. We're going on vacations at the vacation homes of the royals, where we previously have seen the Queen. We have seen Epstein and Maxwell there just hanging out here. So clearly, there's a big connection here, as Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, was very connected to a lot of intel agencies, to a lot of very powerful families, lots of powerful power brokers, and there's nothing more powerful in the United Kingdom than the royal family, and of course the Rothschilds. Apologies. As now we have this article from the Express talking about Prince Andrew urged to leave the country after the latest Epstein update scandal. The Duke of York was savaged by a royal commentator over the latest update in the Jeffrey Epstein saga. What's the latest update? Well, there are reports of new emails emerging over the weekend that show, allegedly, Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, all this like high class society, it's all predatory, disgusting monsters behind the scenes that are just nasty people. I want to say some other things, but family-friendly show here, we're going to do our best. He says, emails emerged over the weekend showing the Duke of York telling the disgraced financier that, quote, "We are in this together." What? Yep, we are, quote, in this together. What does he mean, in this? In what together? This is in 2010. This is when it was already revealed that Epstein was a registered S offender and has hurt minors. Officially. And then we have Prince Andrew emailing him, "We are in this together." As the royal family was working behind the scenes at destroying a lot of the kind of exposés and big stories, they went out to the major media networks and said, "Hey, you want access to the royal wedding? Hey, you want access to the royal family? Hey, you want these exclusives with all these princesses and all this other royalty. You want access? You want to know about the life of the rich and famous? Yeah, you're going to cover up for us about how we hurt children. You're going to do that for us? And the corporate media said, yes, yeah, of course, yeah. Oh, the ratings, the bonanzas, oh. And I'm like, you seedy, disgusting, nasty, soulless scum. Disgusting. Horrible creatures in the corporate media that said, yeah, access to the royal family? Or we actually help children that are being hurt here and preyed upon, and we help them, give them justice, and expose the story of the decade about how powerful people secretly behind the closed doors do ritualistic child sacrifice. What do we do? And we'll go with the royal family access. That's what was happening behind the scenes. That's how disgusting a lot of this was. Now, the reason why these emails matter is because the prince went on the British Broadcasting Company and said, I cut off contact with Epstein in December of 2010. I went there personally to cut it off. I can't sweat either. He was during an interview, car crash interview. I can't sweat. I just don't know what happened. Again, the email was sent just one day. The email that says, we are in this together. The email was sent one day after the infamous photographer of Andrew and Virginia Giuffre was posted. Yeah, that was a very famous photo that Prince Andrew and royal family surrogates were saying, it's fake! It's fake news! It's not real! As of course he can't tell us where he was. The British police were like, yeah, just like the grooming gangs, we're going to let this one go. We're not going to investigate this one. Shoot children getting hurt here, getting ritualistically sacrificed. Shoot. Muslim grooming gangs? No. Prince Andrew hurting small children, witnesses coming forward, exposés coming out, clear evidence, him lying about, no. That British guy called Akishi a bloke, jail. That's the British justice system for you. That person reshared something that we now deem not true, jail. Open up the jails. Release the Muslim. Release the Muslim. Let's put in the native-born population that dares to talk about what we don't want them talking about. Again, now before talking about this, before playing the clip of Nick Fuentes, he really went off. I think he went farther than I would have gone, to be quite honest with you. And before talking about some of the more salacious fake news out there, because there's a lot of fake news out there, right? Before getting into all of that, and we wanted to tell you about thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Now, if you haven't checked out our shirts, we got great shirts, like the shirt that I'm wearing right now, saying Epstein didn't Epstein himself. You can get that shirt just by going to thebestpoliticalshirts.com and typing in Epstein. When you do, you get to see the incredible shirts that we have here that are related to this. We had our t-shirt company censored because of Epstein shirts. When we did, we were like, okay, back to the drawing board. We created this t-shirt company because we were censored. And YouTube demonetized us. We're like, okay, well, we're going to get our message out one way or another. You downrank us, demonetize us, you destroy our ability to reach people. Well, we're just going to figure out new ways to do that. And that's what that's when we launched the t-shirt company. Thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Great way of engaging people, starting conversations with people. Again, Epstein didn't Epstein himself. That's available here on our store. And we have a lot of really great, thoughtful, thought-provoking. Once you see people wearing this stuff in the general public, it is such a major white pill. It's like, wow, I'm not alone on this. There's so many people that have very serious questions that are also awakened and understand now's the time to speak out more than ever. If you agree, do your part of lazy activism by going to thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Now, let's get back to Prince Andrew, as of course there's other emails. We have abc.net in Australia reporting how Prince Andrew told Jeffrey Epstein that, quote, we'll play some more soon. What? We'll play some more soon? I mean, there's nothing more skeevy, pervy, and disturbing than an elitist son of the queen. Okay. All right. You look at a lot of the kind of fictional depictions of all these like super bratty, super rich people that just grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth. That times 10 with Prince Andrew, right? Absolutely. Top of the top. You could get away with crimes. My family gets away with hurting children. I could do it too. As right now, we're finding out that his relationship was far more skeevy, far more pervy than we previously thought it to be. As of course, now these new emails that came out over the weekend highlight, yeah, man, there's a lot more. As this email was sent out in 2011, according to ABC in Australia, which again directly contradicts the royals' assertion that Prince Andrew cut off all contacts with Epstein in 2010. That wasn't true. Clearly it wasn't. What else are they lying about? They should be subpoenaed. They should be charged. They should be fully investigated. But we're living in a world where there's a two-tier justice system. You have money, you have power, you're connected to the royals. Yeah, we'll give you some of our children to do whatever you want with. And you get to prey upon them, and you get to hurt them. Yeah. You are low level of society, don't have a lot of money. You criticize open immigration. That leads to more children being hurt. Oh, jail. How dare you make that connection? Jail. As it looks like these emails have been made public earlier this year. The sender, again, hasn't been confirmed here, as UK tabloids now are claiming that they have verified that Prince Andrew did, in fact, quote, send out these emails. Now, there's also going to be a new documentary called Prince Andrew and the Epstein email scandal that is going to be broadcast in the United Kingdom sometime soon. That, of course, is going to bring more attention to this matter. Now, here's what this email said. I'm just as concerned for you. Don't worry about me. It would seem we are in this together and we'll have to rise above it. Otherwise, keep in close touch and we'll play some more soon. The email was signed with the letter A and HRH, the Duke of York KG. It's not the first time we heard of the emails, which was included in court documents for former Barclays Chief of Staff, Executive Jess Stanley, as he, of course, was in a case trying to get back his financial licenses. Mr. Stanley stepped down from his role after he had more extensive ties with Epstein in 2021, as there was a regulatory body that actually banned him from being able to be in the industry because he was so connected with, the big predators of our society. Now, the email was sent exactly February 28th, 2011. This is the infamous photo that I was just talking about in a little bit. As right now, a lot of people are saying, hey, now's the time for the U.S. government to get serious, to hold these guys accountable, to subpoena them, to call them to testify, to at least interview them. Will they do that? I don't know. As right now, the left is using the Epstein saga as a full frontal battering ram against Trump and his administration. Now, I would say some of the attacks are unwarranted, ridiculous, stupid. But the Trump administration has handled this entire case extremely poorly, and they have given all the room in the world for them to be hit on this very easily, as, of course, the discharge petition probably is going to pass in a few months, and this is going to come to another kind of moment where they are essentially doing the worst of the worst PR blunders, self-inflicting pain and suffering on themselves in very serious ways. And again, as soon as the story broke, I'm like, look, you got to get it all out. Get it all out immediately. As now, there's a lot of rumors, speculation that Trump is using the blackmail himself. If he is, I mean, you're officially part of the cover-up, and that's really bad. Some people are saying Trump's being threatened. Some people are saying something else is happening behind the scenes. Now, again, I got into full-on arguments with Tim Pool about this. He's making the argument that the documents were fudged, and that's why Trump doesn't want to release them. I'm saying that probably isn't true, because if they were fudged, the Democrats would have released them when Trump was running for the presidency of the United States in order to stop him from running for the presidency of the United States, right? That makes sense, and that counters that argument, which I think is not right. Now, Tim also makes a point. Listen, Trump's in a war. I trust him. He says this is going to help the Democrats. I don't want to help the Democrats. I believe him. I'm going to have to take his word on it. And a lot of people believe that, and I understand that particular subject. Now, there's a lot of people on the left that are just using this to attack him. Raw Story, again, very discredited organization, lies a lot. And here's their loose extrapolation of everything, saying, startling Trump admission signals he realizes Epstein Files release imminent. Analyst. This is just absolutely conjecture. They're saying because Trump wants to get into heaven, that and he says he doesn't know he's going to get into heaven, and that's because people are going to find out about the Epstein stuff soon. And again, there's a lot of other things at play here, but this is just a theory. Is this theory backed by any facts and evidence? It is not. Now, it is very weird that Donald Trump did say this.
Go ahead. You had talked a couple weeks ago, you were doing an interview, and you talked about how you hope to end the war in Ukraine because it might help you get into heaven. How does this help? Does this help?
I mean, I'm being a little cute. I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven, okay? I really don't. I
don't think there's anything that could get me in heaven. Okay, that's a big
statement.
I'm
not maybe heaven bound.
I'm not heaven bound.
I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven, but
I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven. Now, what does he mean? Is he talking about the Epstein Files? But again, it's up to your interpretation. When you're the president of the United States, you have to make a lot of tough calls and decisions, right? And when you're drone bombing vessels off of the coast of Venezuela, a lot of people argue you need to do that. You need to send a stern message. You need to scare the criminal organizations on cartels. By the way, cartels are literally running submarines. We're talking about the low-level players that are just being bombed into oblivion. CIA submarines with all the drugs just being imported into this country. Cartels, submarines. Again, anyway, I digress here. Some people are saying that this was very unchristian-like of the president of the United States. Other people are saying that there's something wholesome about Trump's genuine desire to get into heaven. People are saying that he's being very open, he's being very humble. People are saying he's the Antichrist. Whatever your own opinion on this, it is interesting to know. And again, I think the conversation is worth having. That there is a dose of honesty here that you wouldn't really, and candor that you really don't see from any other kind of real politician. And you kind of got to respect that at the end of the day. Now, Nick Fuentes doesn't hold back, and he says, no, Trump's and the Epstein Files. And again, raw story here, absolute, just total, full-out conjecture. But Nick, even though I disagree with him on some points, he shares a lot of frustration that the general public has. Listen, and again, in the right-wing media space, a lot of people play nice. A lot of people, put the gloves on. They play patty cake. In the real world, from what I'm seeing, lots of people are pissed, and they want justice about these Epstein Files.
Trump was asked about it in June, and he lied. They said, are you in the Epstein Files? And specifically, they asked about this briefing. They said, did the Attorney General brief you on whether you appeared in the files? And Trump said no. No such briefing occurred. All he asked, according to him, is whether the material was credible, and then said it was fabricated by the Democrats. Then they come out in July, 3 weeks ago, a day before Netanyahu visits the White House, and they say there's nothing to see here. There's going to be no further disclosures.
That timeline was interesting, but it could be circumstantial.
No further investigations, no charges. We're not interested in any of it. It's just done.
Yeah, that letter, not signed by anyone, disgusting letter. That was just like, nothing to see here, folks. Move away, shoot. And I'm like, this is disrespectful to anyone paying attention or anyone with any bit of intelligence.
But then it gets worse. And this is the problem. The next day, Trump says, why does anybody care? A few days later, he says it's a Democrat hoax. And specifically, he says the material contained in the files was made up. He says that like the Steele dossier, which was fabricated, and the Democrats contracted spies to fabricate this intelligence. He said, and similarly, like the special counsel report created by Robert Mueller, he said the Epstein files are fake, they're a hoax. Then he took it a step further, and he said, if you don't believe me, he said, if you're falling for the files, which are fake and which I'm calling a hoax, you're doing the Democrats' work for them. You're falling for it again. He said, and you're no longer my supporter, and I don't want your support.
And listen, there's some people that believe that. And there's some people that are like, okay. But every step of the way, we're always getting contradictory type of evidence. And again, I don't know what's in those files. At this point, I don't know who's guilty, who's not guilty. All I'm saying is America deserves to be run not on blackmail. It looks like it is run on blackmail. And even though some people are saying, just give him this, we can't. And the vast majority of people can't, because we're having children that were hurt here that need justice. Now, there's some right-wing influencers that are being paid. They're saying, what children? There's no children. Lying scumbags. And again, we'll get into it. What do you think about Nick's comments? Do you think Trump's heaven comment has anything to do with Epstein? Press 1 if yes, press 2 if no, down in the comment section down below. Thank you for supporting this independent media organization. Thank you so much for getting the shirts. Living life boldly, honestly. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange. Love you. Stay tuned for